So, I think we tend to forget just how dominant KD was in the 2017 and 18 finals. But me, I vividly remember dropping down to my knees when he connected on this shot over LeBron.
For three, it's good! Kevin Durant from downtown, and Golden State takes the lead!
That shot right there was one dagger the Cavs had to face. But it wasn't the only one, as Durant doesn't even look at Curry on this play, which kinda shows you that he definitely was the first option. And even though J.R. Smith is closing out, Durant doesn't care and lets it fly from 30 feet.
Durant way outside, delivers! Kevin Durant from downtown!
As time passes, I understand that it's easy to forget just how dominant a player was, and when it comes to KD, his legacy gets tarnished because he switched teams a lot, but when we talk about just pure hoopers, he's one of the best to ever do it. In these two series, KD averaged 32 points, 9 rebounds and 6 assists, with a true shooting percentage of 68%. Yeah, this here is just ridiculous, and Durant did his damage in various ways. I know a lot of people like to call Durant the second option to Curry, and maybe they have a solid reason as to why. With Steph requiring a lot of attention on the offensive end, you would see the Warriors involve him in a two-man action with Durant, and I want you to think about this for a second. Are they using Curry as a decoy, which proves he's the first option due to the defense gravitating towards him more? Or are they using him on purpose so they can easily free up their main guy at the moment? Honestly, it doesn't matter that much, as both lead to openings like this where Durant has a clear route to the basket for 2 points. When you put one of the best shooters and best scorers on the same team, you get these plays where the defense gets confused on the switch, which now allows Curry to swing it over to Durant, who now has the perfect pursuit angle, and although the defense starts to shrink in, KD flies in with no problem. Time and time again, the Cavs will miscommunicate on these plays that involve Durant and Curry, as they really didn't want to give up a 3 to Steph, but soon enough, they'd realize that KD wasn't the guy they wanted with the ball in his hands. Like, I get it, Curry was torching people like a cheat code during this time, but in no world can you go to double him 30 feet away from the basket and not have a rotation ready for Durant. When you let someone of his caliber catch in space to go operate, I'm sorry, I don't know if K-Love thought he was going to put up a fight, but here we go. This two-man action was something the Warriors could go to at any time during the game, as it generated good looks majority of the time, and for KD, there were times where he could have exercised his passing to set up one of his teammates, but nah, he'd rather pull up and get straight money.
Pulls up jumper, got it! 13 of 17 from the field.
These last few plays could play into the case that Durant was the second option for the Warriors, but when you see that KD would rather get the ISO himself at the end of quarters to then pull up over 2, this here displays his confidence.
At the buzzer!
When he would give the ball up to then move without it to then go get a bucket, this here would showcase his versatility. And when he would just take it right at the defense himself to then get bumped off balance, he doesn't panic, he simply just shows how skilled he is.
Count it and 1!
KD didn't just have to score one way to be effective on the floor, and this here's what caused so many problems for the Cavs. It wasn't like he was just someone who could snipe them from deep or be a dual threat and attack them in the inside. Durant was and is someone who can put the ball in the basket from wherever he's at on the floor, and this here can pose many different mismatches throughout a game. For an example, we don't look at KD as someone who's going to outlift you in the weight room, but when he has a smaller guy on him, he can practically bully them into the paint, and look, he could turn around and easily put this in the basket. But who are we kidding? Durant likes to make things a little tougher. Now let's say the opposite happens and you have a big on him, but they happen to be on the outside. Well, KD isn't your typical 6'10", 6'11", 7-footer. He's a guy who can get saucy with that handle, and hold on 1 second, look at the seconds on the clock. Yeah, it's KD time.
Durant fires a 3, knocks it down, Kevin Durant!
It simply didn't matter who was put on him, as the Cavs were helpless when it came to stopping him, and just to flex his skill even more, Durant would get into the post to shake defenders with the shimmy before fading back. In basketball, it's all about getting to your spots, and Durant would be fine wherever he caught it, even if it wasn't these post-up actions. When he knew he had a mismatch, he would just bury into him like he does Kyrie Irving on this play to then kiss it off the glass. And even on the times where he didn't catch it down low, he would just turn his back to the defender, give him a nudge to initiate the attack, and instead of going to the basket, it's a fadeaway for straight cash. This back to the basket game would get Durant easy looks majority of the time, as he would usually have an advantage over his defender, but for those times he matched up with LeBron, it's not that it was necessarily a mismatch, but KD would just face up to fire it over him like he wasn't even there. And I'm telling you, he made it look quite easy. For those times he wasn't cooking LeBron at the post, it would be when Durant didn't have the ball that caused commotion. Such as here when LeBron wants to be ready for the pin down action with Curry, he loses sight of KD because he was so focused on the play he had in mind, and now a lob is flying in over your head. This here didn't just happen once, as KD would be playing now you see me now you don't with LeBron, and this gave him a ton of easy buckets. The reason LeBron was getting beat so many times backdoor was because he didn't want to allow KD to come off and shoot a 3, as he knocked down 45% of his 3s in all 9 games versus Cleveland. This here now puts LeBron in a vulnerable situation since no one's on the backside to immediately help him if he's to get beat, and here you can see the results. Easy points like this allowed Durant to get into the flow of the game without really breaking a sweat. He would pick apart the defense by inserting himself in the gaps to get clean looks, and sometimes we would even see his defense play into his offense that led to an emphatic slam. You could call it cleanup season or you could call it a cakewalk, but in all reality, this was just the appetizer. Because once KD got the menu and could get whatever he wanted, he ordered the full course meal. Now when you first get your plate, you can't just dig in. You gotta stay patient and then make your move once the food is a little cooled off. So once it's your mouth, you ready to eat. Now hold on, pause, don't be thinking like that over here. We simply talking about how KD could stay patient to then navigate to his desired spot on the floor. His approach of rocking defenders to sleep to then burst into his move would unlock open lanes for him to attack straight into his zone, and once he pulled up you knew it was butter. Anytime a defender tried to stop him and stay attached, Durant would just stay cool while he waited for his opening, and yeah, this right here is pretty much wide open for him. Not every time does it take quick flashy moves to get into your shot, as you can just calmly rise up to bury it, and when it comes to a guy like Durant, he's never been known to have an extra deep bag when it comes to handles like other scorers, as he's learned to make you pay if you give him any space. Shots like that show you that there's levels to this thing we call shooting, as KD will pull up over the top of anyone if they don't already have their hands up. If you disrespect him by not getting out on the pick and roll action, he'll let it fly from 30 with no problem. And if you do happen to get your hand up and think you've taken away the 3-pointer, well hey, the joke's on you, because here comes that hezzy cross into a nasty stop on a dime, and bada bing, it's money team. Let's be real, KD's name isn't Easy Money Sniper for no reason, and it got to a point where Klay Thompson was passing up wide open 3s, and yes, we're talking about Klay Thompson giving up a wide open 3. And not only is he giving it up, he's sending it to Durant, who ends up being smothered, but it simply doesn't matter. I want you to think about this. In what world does this type of guy look like a second option? With this amount of versatility, poise, and tough shot making, this is someone you run the offense through. In both finals, KD had Cleveland in shambles, as they never found an answer for him, hence as to why he was the finals MVP both times. This isn't to say that KD did it alone, as basketball is a team sport and the Warriors have a fantastic offense that made it easy for KD to fit in seamlessly, but even with that, KD had to make shots, rise to the occasion, and stamp his name in history. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're first to know when I upload. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.